quitting alcohol. So it feels like about 45 fucking degrees in the house at the moment. I'm sweating fucking bullets. There's no air conditioning in this place. We asked the real estate agent at the start of the year, we're like, can we get some fucking air conditioning put in here? It's been 3 years and we have 2 kids and the place is fucking hot in the summer. Do you mind fucking supplying some cold air? And they sent back under fucking act, whatever the fuck it was. The landlord is under no obligation to provide fucking air conditioning. But if you would like to install it at your own expense, you can do that, but it cannot be removed once it's installed. Do you plan to go ahead with the air conditioning? That's what they sent back. Do you plan to go ahead with it? So I went from, hey, we're fucking roasting alive in the place we're paying a fortune for. Do you mind just giving us a little bit of a fucking break? It's so hot in your fucking apartment. And they're like, would you like to buy the landlord some air conditioning for his apartment? So when he throws you out in 2 weeks, he can get a little bit more money for it. Do you plan to go ahead with that? These fucking absolute fucking scumbags. Oh yeah, by the way, your rent's going up as well. They've got you by the balls at the moment, these fucking real estate agents. They know as soon as you start complaining, they can just fucking throw you out and there'll be 200 cunts at the fucking front door waiting to get in. It's actually wild what we're paying for this apartment. It's really a 2-bedroom apartment and they've turned the laundry area into a 3rd bedroom. So I have a study and we've got a bedroom for the kids. They sleep in bunk beds. And it's a small apartment because we only planned on being here for like a year until my wife got her passport, Australian passport. But you know how things go. Life gets in the way. And next thing you know, you're fucking midway through your 4th year. Remember not so long ago, it was COVID. I was living in India. Like, oh, fuck, we'll just come back to Sydney for a fucking minute. When we moved to Sydney, you could rent a place fine because there was no cunts here. No cunts were allowed in. So we got this place real cheap. That's the problem. That's the main problem with this place. It's a 3-bedroom place, even though it's small. And we started renting it at a very cheap price because of COVID. And even though they've put it up like 60 to 70%, we're still getting it comparatively cheap to anything else out there. If you look up a 3-bedroom place in the same area I'm living in, you're fucking paying probably another 30 to 40% on top of what we're paying now. So it sort of puts you in a little bit of a hard spot. Although very close to us, within walking distance, my daughter's childcare is the cheapest I've seen it anywhere. And they're good. They're like fucking Greek Orthodox chicks. So they're sweet. But yeah, it's sweltering hot in here. I need aircon almost 24/7 at the moment. On my drive to work, 6 a.m. in the morning, fucking full blast aircon. When I'm at work, I just try and be in the shadows. Then in the lunchroom, full-blown aircon. I'm just sweating all the time. Then when I get home, there's no aircon, but we bought this little fan thing that's pretty good, but it's still just a fan. But I'm very close to it, so it sort of feels like aircon because I'm right next to it. But it definitely is starting to be a very uncomfortable heat. Maybe climate change is happening and this is the future. I can't imagine being like a fucking Indian in the middle of a slum. Like, those slums are hectic at the best of times. But in Delhi, during summer, it gets to like 45, 46 degrees. So you're in a slum in the middle of Delhi. Like, cunts are dying. They just fall off. You're sitting there in a tin roof fucking shack with a fucking plastic tarp around it as your walls. It hits 45 degrees. You go for a nap, dead. That's brutal. India is going to be a very big concern if the fucking temperatures rise too much. I had to work today as well in this fucking heat. I think technically it's only like 35 degrees Celsius here, but the humidity is just fucking off the charts. I've already had 2 cold showers, and as soon as I get out of the shower, it's just fucking uncomfortable again. Anyway, fucking what else has been going on? Trump's doing Trump things. Bitcoin's doing Bitcoin things. My rig's out of control. I'm almost fully bald. What are the other updates? People hate Bill Burr at the moment for some reason. I'm loving him again because he's the only comedian going after the cunts in power. Every other comedian in the world is a pandering cuck. None of these comedians will say shit. Like when things turn bad, they're all too fully invested in the narrative now. So when things turn bad, they're going to keep their mouth shut to protect what they've got. Bill Burr's just out there throwing haymakers everywhere. Everyone's blaming it on his super liberal black wife, but I think that's only part of the reason. I just think as a comedian, like, as soon as the power shifts, you shift. Like, you're meant to attack the power. Like, the left is such... Oh my God, it's so fucking embarrassing. Like, you've got this guy, Chris Hedges, American journalist, was in all the fucking major war zones of like the late 80s, 90s, 2000s. One of America's true fucking heroes. Great journalist. Champion of the left, has some fucking amazing things to say. I watched him. He was doing a speech at the Sanctuary for Independent Media the other day. It must be some like major left-wing whatever. And he did this speech and it was one of the better speeches I've ever heard. He talked about getting over war and the things you have to do in war and how it affects your soul and how you have to live with it and how you have to become human again and the ways you become human again and what the genocide that Israel is committing is going to do to the soldiers in the long term. And fucking, it was just an amazing speech. And then he did this question and answer thing and you're like, fucking, people need to hear this. Like, it's so inspiring. Even like Trump supporters would listen to this and go, yes, yes. And I'm like, fucking, if only this could get to more people. And then he did this question and answer thing. And like the crowd he's playing to is unbelievable. So the host comes on and says something. And she is like one of those flustered, aqua-haired, fucking libtard retards that is almost bursting into tears because she's so scared of everything. And you're like, all right, you're not going to do anything. You're not really even his audience. Like, he's asking for bravery. You are not brave. And you're like, the message is wasted on her. But good on you for hosting him and fucking putting on the event. But like, if you're going to change the world, I'm afraid you need some muscle behind you. You need some Boilermakers and some fucking chippies and some steel fixers or something. And then she gets off stage and it goes back to the Q&A. And then this dude comes up on stage with a face mask. like a full COVID protection face mask. Like, still virtue signaling, like, years later. Like, we know it does nothing now. It's just a symbol of retardedness now if you're wearing that. And so he asks a question and he's another guy with like a shaky voice and you're like, all right, you're not going to help. Like, the message is wasted on you too. And obviously, Chris Hedges answers the question brilliantly. And then the next guy comes up and another guy with a full face mask on. And I'm like, oh my God, is this just a crowd of these cunts? Like, this message is just being wasted. It's a wasted message. And you have to go listen to it because Chris Hedges is brilliant. The speech is called Normalizing Genocide and the New World Order. It's Media Sanctuary. It was a speech he did a couple of days ago for the Sanctuary for Independent Media. And this media must be real fucking independent. Like, so independent that actually no one watches or listens to it. But I recommend you go listen to it because it was a really, really fucking good speech. Anyway, I'm sweating my fucking balls off. That'll do for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and I'll see you the fuck later.